This conference will now be recorded.
So, in last class, we have seen about your ALV with the field catalog, ALV with layout, ALV with the top of page, end of list, and as well as your logo. And we have seen about interactive ALV and interactive ALV using your call transaction method. So, almost these are the only requirements that you will be getting it in your real time. So 90%. So whatever the details I have provided, you go ahead and try to do that. So these are the requirements which I have given it over here. So try to do that. Try to do that. Try to complete these assignments and come back with me your solutions. Okay. Now the next thing. So try to always write the code in the new syntaxes, guys. Don't try to use that in your old syntaxes. Now the next thing we are going to see is your hierarchical ALV. So what is this hierarchical ALV? If you want to display the ALV in the form of your header and corresponding items. So I want to display my header. So firstly, I want to display the header and its items, and then header and its items, and then header and its items. So if you want to do that, so then we need to go ahead and work with your hierarchical ALV. Hierarchical ALV. So this is the one which we have to work. So the function module is for this to display the data in the form of hierarchy, we need to use a function module called as reuse ALV hierarchy display. Reuse ALV hierarchy display. So this is the one, hierarchy list display. So this is the function module which we have to use it. In this function module, so hierarchy display, in this function module, we need to pass we need to pass if you are getting it from the structures, we need to pass the field catalogs. So the field catalogs for header and item. Let's say if you want to get the field catalogs from your structures, then you need to get, that means SE11. So that means SE11 structures. Then we need to use I underscore structure header and I underscore structure name item. I underscore structure name header and I underscore structure name item. In this, we need to provide your field catalogs details. Now, if I want to showcase the internal tables, then we need to populate this I underscore table name header and I underscore table name item and IT field catalog. IT field catalog. These are the things which we have to provide. And there is one more thing called as IS underscore key info. So this will tell us, so we will be having IS underscore key info. This will tell us the relationship, tell us the relationship between the header and the item. That means what is the unique field? What is the unique field that it is going to showcase, that it is going to tell us? So these two things we have to pass, either the structure SE11 or the internal table, or the internal tables names we have to provide and is key info, and then in the tables parameter we need to provide the header table and the item table. Once we provide these above details and call this function module, then the data will be shown in the form of your header and item. The data will be shown in the form of your header and item. So let me go ahead and show you that. So SC38, I'm going to take ZR7AM example hierarchical ALV. ALV. So now I'll just click on create. So example program on hierarchical ALV. I'll be going to take this as executable program. Click on save. I'll be storing that in your package as well as in your TR. As well as in your TR, I'm going to store that. Okay. So now I'm going to take this as no standard page heading. No standard page heading. So this is the one I'm going to take it as. And if you have the message ID, you have to provide your message ID too. Now, my requirement. My requirement is I want to show the PO header details and the PO item details. Guys, I would request you to copy this program. So I would request you to copy this program, or else let me also provide this example in your ALV report. So that's how the complete real time how you will be working. Real time format of the program. Real time format of the program. So this is how we used to work in your real time. I'll just copy this one. Now coming to the include. Include. What is the include? So this is the one. So I'll go inside this. I just copy it from here. I'll be pasting it over here, and then include, and then include. So whatever the logic which is there over here, I'm just copying it so that you will be having an exact real time how you have to do it. And I'll go back. I'll go to my S01. I'll just copy that one, and then my M01. My F01. So this is how the real-time format of the data you have to return. I'm just pasting that so that you can have this as your handy. So I just copy the same program so that you will be having those details handy. So with the help of this, you can able to work with any type of program. We have utilized the new syntaxes, and I have also told you the old syntaxes, but I would request you to always use your new syntaxes when you are writing your code. So this, you make sure to have this copy in your place, in your handy, so that you will be you will know how to write the any program. The logic for the any program will be the same, guys. But sorry, the transcript or the template for the any program is the same, but the logic what you are going to write inside is going to be a different, that you need to understand. So logical thinking is how you have to write it, but the template you have to follow the same guidelines how I have been teach you in your class. How I have taught teach you in your class, you have to follow the same guidelines when you are writing the code, but always try to write down in the new syntaxes. Practice the new syntaxes as much as you can, guys. Okay. So now let me go back to our hierarchical ALV, and then we will see our your block list ALV. Where is this hierarchical ALV? Let me click on the change window. Now my requirement is I want to showcase the PO header details and corresponding PO item details, corresponding PO item details in the form of hierarchy, in the form of your hierarchical ALV, higher ALV. So now let me do that. So I'm just going with start of selection directly. So from here onwards, I will never use the modularization concept and everything, but when you guys are practicing it, you have to practice every program in the modularized way. So I'll also teach you one program in the Oops ABAP in the exact modularized way, how we used to write down in our real time. How we used to write down in our real time. I'll teach you one program over there. So how can we write down? So the same in the field catalog manner, and then we will be seeing, and then we'll try to extend the same program how we have tried to extend our program of the field catalog. The same way I will try to extend the program of the Oops ABAP in one single program, and I will be giving it to you guys so that you can know how can you work with that. Okay. So now let me come back to here start of selection. So I'll just say select start from ek ekko into table at the rate data of gt underscore ekko up to 100 rows, and I'll be taking this order by primary key, order by your primary key. Now, for the above details, for the above details, we need to get the data from EKPO table. So for this, I'm going to say select star from EKPO into table at the rate data of GT underscore EKPO GT underscore PO for all entries in at the rate GT underscore EKKO, where EBELN is equal to at the rate GT underscore EKKO hyphen EBELN. So I'll be taking this as order by your primary key. So now I got the data of my header table. I got the data of my item table. It's time for me to call the hierarchical ALV. Hierarchical ALV. So how to call that one? So I'm just going to say click on pattern. I'll be saying that reuse ALV hierarchy list display. So I'll be taking this as F4, F4. So hierarchy list display. I'll just click on continue. So here you have to provide your callback program. So what is the callback program? So I'll be just saying this as cprog. So the callback program, and then the itab header name. So what is the itab header name? GT underscore EKKO. And next itab item name GT underscore EKPO. So now I need to provide, either you have to provide your I underscore structure name header and I underscore structure name item, or you have to provide your this is my internal table. So you will be having an internal table also. Okay, I'm just going to provide my I underscore structure name and I underscore structure item. So I'm just going to say EKKO, and then I'm going to say this as EKPO. So this is what. For this, you have to provide your key info. So what is the key info? I'm going to take this as value slice underscore key info ALV slice underscore. So if I go to my SE37, let me open the function module. Let me open this function module. So we will go ahead and see what we have to be provided. I'll just open this function module. Just click on display. I'll go to my is underscore key info slice underscore key info ALV. So now I'm going to provide those values. So slice underscore key info ALV, and then this is your. So here you can provide up to maximum of five what I mean to say, up to maximum of five common fields or five relationship between the header and item. That's the only one thing you can able to provide. More than five you can't able to do it. Only the maximum up to five common fields between the header table and item table you can provide. So I'm just going to provide your header 1 is equal to what is the field name. So if I go here, I just provided that example also, guys. Okay, hierarchical ALV, I just provided that example also. So I'm just providing the first key field MANDT, and the next one is item 01. Item 01, I'm just going to provide MANDT. The next one is header 02. I'm going to provide EBELN. So this is what my common field, and item 02 is equal to EBELN. EBELN. So that's it. So this is the common fields between these tables, and I don't want any other fields. So that's what I have provided. So so you have provided, and then you have provided your header table and item tables. So what is your header tables? So GT underscore EKKO, and then GT underscore EKPO. So I don't need any other things. Excuse me. I don't need any other things. I'm just going to remove those ones. In the same way, I'm going to remove this one too. Now do your pretty printer, and I'm just going to raise my exceptions. So do your pretty printer, and let's get activate the code. So when I click on execute, see here, you will be getting your purchase document company code details in the form of your header and its corresponding items. Header and its corresponding items. So this is what you have to be showcased in the form of your item. So in the form of your hierarchical list ALV. But to be frank, I never work any kind of requirement in this format till today. Till today, we didn't get any type of requirement in this format. In this format, we didn't get. So even if you go to your reuse ALV hierarchy listed display, you will also see your field catalog, and you will also see your IS layout, how you want to lay out that one. And you can also see your events is also there. No, events, yeah, events is also there. You can work with your events also. The same way how you have worked with your field catalog, you can go ahead and work with the events too. So this is what all about your hierarchy list display. Now, the next one is the block list display. So the next ALV and the final ALV is your block list display. So what is meant by this block list display? If I want to showcase multiple reports, multiple reports in one single ALV, one single ALV, then we need to use this block list display. Block list display. So this is the one we will be using in our real time. In order to work with your, in order to display the ALV, to display the block list ALV, the block list ALV, we need to use a function module called as reuse ALV, reuse ALV block list display. Reuse ALV, the block list display. So even I have given you the field catalog example, guys. So if you want, you can just work with that field catalog example also. So I have just provided you the field catalog example. So you go ahead and see that. So now the block list display, you have to use it. So block underscore list underscore your display. So this is the one. So to display, sorry. Okay. So to display the block list ALV, we have to use this function module, reuse ALV block list display. So before we displaying, we need to know how many ALVs we have to provide. We have to append how many ALVs, how many ALVs we are displaying. To do that, to do that, we will use we will we will use the we'll use a function module called as block list reuse ALV block list append. Reuse ALV block list append. So this is the function module which we are going to use for appending. Before we appending, before we appending, we need to initialize the block list ALV. We need to initialize, saying that we are going to showcase multiple reports in our ALV. So for that, we are going to initialize our initializing. For this, we have a function module called as reuse ALV block list initialize. Reuse ALV the block list initialize. That means this will be your step one for when you are displaying, and this will be your step two, and this will be your step three. Step three. So these three things you have to be done when you are doing this with your block list ALV. Block list ALV, these are the three things. Now let's see an example program. So example, I'm going to take this as the block list ALV. The block list ALV, I'm just going to click on create. So I'll just saying this as example program on the block list ALV, and I'll be taking this as executable program. Let me click on save. I'll be saving that in your package as well as in your TR. So I'm going to take this as no standard page heading. So now I'm going to take my requirement. My requirement is I want to show the material details in one report and its material description details in another report. So after this, I want to showcase its material description details in one more report. So now I'll just going with my start of selection. So first get the material details. get the material details. So for this, what I'm going to do, select MATNR, MTART, MATKL, MBRSH from Mara into table at the rate data of GT underscore Mara up to 100 rows or else up to 10 rows. So I want to showcase two reports in one single ALV. So that's why I'm taking a limited data over here. But in your real time, you will be having a selection screen. Based upon your selection screen, you have to get the data and you have to populate the data. So this is the one. So up to 10 rows and order by MATNR. So I'm just going to take this as or else order by your primary key. Now get the description details for the above materials. For the above materials, get the description details. So select MATNR. Next, I'll go to the table MAKT. So MAKT is the description table. I know it. So I'll just clicking on display SPRAS. So language key SPRAS, and then I'm going to take this as MAKTX from Mara into table at the rate data of GT underscore MAKT for all entries in at the rate data of GT underscore Mara where MATNR is equal to GT underscore Mara hyphen MATNR order by your primary key. So I'm just doing my sorting. Now it's time for me to display the data, in the form of blocks, in the form of your blocks. So for this, in order to populate the data in the form of the blocks, the step one is initialize the block. Initialize the block. Initialize the block. To do this, I'm going with the pattern. So I'm going to take reuse ALV block list initialize. So this is the one. Reuse ALV block list initialize. So I'll just say enter. So that's it. Here you have to provide the program name cprog, and you don't need to do any other things, any other details. That's it. Now the next step is append the ALVs with the help of reuse ALV block list appender. So I'm just appending the ALVs to the block. So in that, again, the first one. So I need to append the GT underscore the Mara. So for this, I'm going to call the function module reuse ALV block list append. I'll be directly writing that, guys. See that one, how I'm going to write that. So reuse ALV block list append. For this, I need a layout. So layout and the tab name, the internal table name. So what is my internal table name? GT underscore Mara is my internal table name. And then here I need to provide GT underscore Mara. GT underscore Mara. So IT field catalog value. So here I'm going to say GS underscore layout. So if you want to define your layout, you have to define it. But we are not going to define this one, but I need to declare this. I'm going to do the data declarations. Data GS underscore layout type slice underscore this underscore layout underscore ALV. So I have just provided that one. Now here I'll just taking this as value slice underscore T underscore field catalog ALV. So I'm just going to assign my first field. What is my first field? So I'm going to take this as, let me go to the other report. So slash O SC38. So I'm just going with my field catalog, ALV with your structure. So I'm going to F01 directly. So this is the one. So the column position, the field name, I'll just do a copy, a reference table name. Till here, I'm just going to take this one. So copy this one. I'm just going to paste it over here. So column position. The first column position is 1. So the next field name is MATNR, and the internal table name is GT underscore Mara. I'm just directly filling up my internal table over here, guys. And reference field name is MATNR, and the reference table name is the Mara. So my first record has been completed. I'm going to take my second record. So I'll just copy this entire thing till here. I'll be working with my second record. So the second record, what is my second record? MTART, MTART, and this one is also my MTART. So this is my second record and my third record each time for me. MATKL and then MATKL. And my fourth record. What is my fourth record? MBRSH. MBRSH, and this one is also my MBRSH. So that's it. So after this, I'll be closing this one. Now do your pretty printer, and let's get activate the code to till here. But sorting also I just need to provide. So events I just need to provide. So I'll be taking this as GT underscore events. So now SPARS. SPARS. So this one I didn't write that. So I'll just going to define my event. So now events only, right? Yeah. GT underscore events type slice underscore T underscore event slice underscore T underscore your event. Now let me activate this one. So there is one more issue. Okay, from MAKD. Sorry. SPRAS. Okay. Hosted variables. Yeah, that's it. So I have appended the first report of GT Mymara, and then it's time for me to append the next report to. Now, second report. Second report. Second report, which is nothing but my GTMA KT. GTMA KT, I just need to append it. For this, again, I will be calling the same function module, the block list append. The block list append. So here I just need to provide GT underscore MAKT, GT underscore MAKT, and here also my internal table GT underscore MAKT. Now I don't need this one. So the second field is SPRAS, SPARS. So what is my second field? SPRAS. RAS, and this is my GT underscore MAKT, and this one is also from MATNR, and then MAKT, and MAKT SPRAS, and this one is also from your MAKT. Now the next one is MAKTX. So this is what method field we have taken, MAKTX, and now this one is GT underscore MAKT, and this one is MAKTX and MAKT. So that's it. So this is what I want. So I'll just do my pretty printer. I'll activate my code as of now till today. So now I'll just go ahead and display the data. Display the data. So the step 3. So I'm doing my step 3. So what is the thing? So I have appended it. Now it's time for me to display the data. So for this, reuse ALV block list display. Block list display. That's it. You don't need to provide any other thing uh, apart from your exceptions. I'll just go ahead and raise my exceptions. Now do your pretty printer and let's get activate the code. And now let me click on execute. You can able to see here the corresponding materials. See here the same material has been displayed in multiple languages. I have just provided that in our multiple languages. Okay, so this is what this is my first report, and this is my second report. So in this ALV, you can't able to showcase your side by side. You can't able to get showcase. It has to be done. It will always showcase you uh, the up and down. So like this only it will showcase you. Side by side it is not possible. So if I want to do that in by side, then you have to use that with your containers. That means nothing but your oops ALV, which we are going to see after your module pool programming. You are going to see after your module pool programming. So then we are going to see your oops ALV. So that oops ALV, in that oops ALV, you can showcase that you can design how many ALVs we want, how many however you want. You can just go ahead and decide that. So in this ALV, events are fixed to 17, but in oops ALV you can define your own customized event also. You can define your own customized event also. No one is going to ask you so which event you are doing it up. So that's what the advantages when you go ahead with your oops ALV. And even the logo is going to be fixed over here, right? In the ALV we have seen that. So the logo has been fixed, but in your oops ALV you can place your logo wherever you want. You can place that logo. So in order to do that, we have to always work with that. So whatever the disadvantages which we have seen in your normal ALV or the traditional ALV, to overcome with that, we will be going ahead with your oops ALVs. Oops ALVs. So that is what. So that we are going to see in your after completion of your module pool programming. Okay. So now let's get started with our new concept called as your module pool programming. Module pool programming. Okay. So new concept called as your module pool programming. So let me close this one. So let me get that one. Okay. So the next concept we are going to start it is your module pool programming. So when we started our career, so right now we are using this module pool programming in the warehouse management and extended warehouse management mostly. In these scenarios only we are just doing the module pool programming, and I never seen in any other places where we have been used your module pool programming. So right now people are going ahead with Fury. Instead of going ahead with your module pool programming, people are going ahead with your Fury. So the postings will be happen from Fury. The postings of the data will be happened happening from Fury through through OData slash your RESTful ABAP programming. Through OData slash your RESTful ABAP programming slash your BTP. So this is the one which is currently used in the market. Okay. So the upgraded versions of HANA people. So whoever is on HANA, so those guys are doing with this. But whoever on ECC, and there are some people who are on ECC who they have for them they have been migrated to HANA, but still they want the same module pool programming only, because the employees who are there in that organization have been addicted to that old style only. They don't want to implement the new style of your date. They don't want to implement the new style. So so you might get a chance to work with your module pool programming, but see all the transactions, all the standard transaction codes for posting of data, for posting slash changing, or I'll say for creating slash changing slash displaying of data. People, it SAP uses the module pool programming concept only. Module pool programming concept only. So they are not going to use anything. So SAP uses everything in the form of your module pool. So that's why I told you, when we started our career, if we are an expert in module pool, you are expert in any areas. You are expert in every areas you have expert. If you know the module pool clearly, so at that time they will be particularly asking that do you have an knowledge on module pool programming? Have you worked on any module pool programming? Or can you tell me the real time scenario what you have been worked on your module pool programming? Like that. Like that, that's the requirements we used to get that. Okay. Now, coming to this, let me go ahead and open the Word document for you guys. So I have already provided you the document. I also provided you the assignments. What are the corresponding assignments I want? I just provided you the assignments. So in between these only I have provided you the assignments too. Okay. So introduction. Coming to this module pool program, it's a special type of a program where we have to design a screen. How the data has to be passed. So in our reports, we will be designing. So in our reports, what we will be designing? We will be designing the selection screen where the user can able to enter the data, right? Where the user can able to enter the data. Enter the data. For this, we will display the details, right? We will display the details. So this selection screen will be created automatically by your SAP system. We are not designing, but in your module pool program, but coming to the module pool program, we have to design the screen how exactly we want. We have to design the screen, and we need to populate the required fields. We need to populate the required fields in the in that screen. Whatever the details we want, we just need to populate in that screen. Okay, in that screen we have to populate those. Now that's the first step. So see, and we need to write the corresponding logic. We need to write the corresponding logic for that. So whatever the logic, which how the screen has to be toggle, and how when they enter it, what the action they are going to work on, that action, what is the logic we have to determine, that we have to go ahead and write down in this your module pool programming. This module pool programming. Now, this type of program we will be seeing, as I already told you, as well as in your product-based companies. So most of the product-based companies will use this module pool programming. So to create a module pool programming, we have to go ahead to a transaction code called as SE80. From your SE80 only, you can design your module pool program. You can design your module pool programming. Remember that. Okay, so now when you want to, so now if for executing of module pool programming, so we need to always create a transaction code. Always create a transaction code. We always need to create a transaction code. With the help of your transaction code only, we can able to execute your module pool program. So that means directly directly from SE80, we can't able to execute the execute the module pool programming. Why? Because we are designing the screen, so we can design. Why in module pool programming we can have multiple screens. We can have your multiple screens. So which screen has to be populated first? System doesn't know. System doesn't know which screen it has to be populated. So in order to know that, we have to create a transaction code. In that transaction code, we will be assigning the screen number. The transaction code, we will be assigning that your screen number. So now once you assign that screen number, system knows that, okay, this is the first screen I have to populate. So from that, we will be writing everything in the code in the form of your navigations. So from which screen to which screen it has to go ahead, and all these things we will be doing that one. Okay, so now let me see that one. So whenever we want to execute directly, when we create a module pool programming, SAP will create four events, or else for every module pool program, I'll just write like this. For every module pool program, we will have four events. What are those? The first one is process before output, and the second one is process after input, And the third one is process process after input, process on value request. And the fourth one is process on the help request. So these are the four things: process before output, process after input. One second, guys. Process on value request and process on your help request. Okay. Now, so this we will be calling it as PBO. This we will be calling it as PAI. And this we will be calling it as POV. And this we will be calling it as your POH. POH. So coming to this PBO, before output. So before the output get displayed, before the output displayed, whatever the logic, whatever the logic for displaying that output, for displaying that output, we will write in in PBO. We will write that in PBO. So whatever the logic. Now, after the input, so that means once the output has been come up, so once you trigger any action, the triggering of the actions, the triggering of the actions, we will mention, we will write the ABAP logic, ABAP logic in PAI, PAI. So PAI and PBO, these two are the major things. So now let me show you that in a pictographical representation. So the first one is, what is the first step? We have to call the transaction. We have to call the transaction code. So then once you call the transaction code, the output will be displayed or the selection screen. That means the PBO will be gets triggered. The PBO will get triggered. So here the PBO will be gets triggering. After this, you will be seeing the input screen where the user passes the value, where the user pass the values. User will, where the user, where the user pass the values, and they will select either execute or whatever the button. That button logic, we will be writing that in your PAI. That button logic, we will be writing that in your PAI. So after this PAI, again the PBO will be gets triggered. The PBO will be gets triggered. The output will be gets displayed. The output. So this is what the logic is. The same screenshot I have been created here. See here the PBO, the input screen where the PAI will be triggered. From this PAI, the PBO will be triggered, the output screen, and then again the PAI. So this is what the logical flow of your module pool program. You have to always understand the logical flow of your module pool programming, then only you can able to write the code in which exact event you want to write, in which exact event you have to write your code. So in that event only you have to write. So these events and the functionality of this, if you know this, that's what I told you, module pool programming, if you are an expert, so then you are expert in all the areas of your ABAP. So at that time when we started our career, till 2013 2014, so that module pool programming is most dominant one, most important one till 2015 too. So right now the systems have been transferred to HANA, and people are interested more to access from your mobile or to access from your tablet or to access from anywhere. So and from there onwards it started reducing. It started reducing the utilization of module pool programming, and the people are interested to go with the web based applications. So those web based applications are nothing but your Fiori. In order to work with your Fiori, the Fiori team will go ahead and create the front end design apps, and the back end design app through the OData or through the RAP is our responsibility to do that. It's our responsibility to do that. Okay. Now, coming to POV, process on value request. Like F4 help. This is similar to like at selection screen on value request for. It's similar to like at selection screen on value request for. Next, POH, process on help request. It's similar to like your at selection screen on help request for. Okay. Now, for every event, we will be having a module. Remember that. So when you are defining the event, once the events has been defined in the program where we are writing, yeah. So for every event of for every event to write the ABAP logic, to write the ABAP logic, to write the ABAP logic, we need to create a module. We need to create a module. So for in this we will write the ABAP code. We'll write the ABAP code. So for this reason, we will be calling this as, for this reason, we will call this as the module pool programming. For this, we will be calling this as your module pool programming. Okay. So that's what I told you. Now, whenever we created a module pool program, so SAP, whenever we create a module pool programming, we will create four includes. I told you the include program. One is the name of the include, include, and underscore your top declaration. The first one is your top declaration. The next one is the name of the include underscore O01, which is nothing for to write your PBO logic. Whatever the PBO logic which you have to write that. And the next one is name of the include underscore I01 for this PAI logic. PAI logic, and then you will be writing that the name of the program, the name of the include include F01. So which you will be writing your subroutines, So these are the four includes that you have to be specified when you are writing your module pool programming. When you are writing your module pool programming, that we have to specify over here. That's what I told you. So, and remember that module pool program, we can't able to execute, we can't able to execute in the background job. The background job. To execute this, let's say for example, if they are asking that background job to be gets executed, we need to create a program, either with the recording, either with the recording of this T code, recording of this transaction code. So which is nothing but your conversions slash interfaces. So that's once we completed the Oops ABAP and as well as your script smart forms and Adobe forms, then we are going to see this conversion slash interfaces. So then sorry, we have to record the transaction code, or we need to create a BAPI with all the similar things, with all the similar things that are going to that we perform will perform on that module pool program. So we have to create a BAPI, which is nothing but your function module. We have to create a function module which will with with all the similar things that we are going to work with your module pool programming. Those all similar things we have to do it. After that, we need to call this function module in our executable program, and that executable program we have to determine that as your background job. We have to determine that as your background job. So this is what we will be doing in case of your module pool programming. Okay. Now let's see. So now the next thing is, for every module pool program, I told you module pool program, we need to determine the screen. We need to determine, or we need to create a screen. That's what my first step. So let's see what are the attributes of the screen. So what details we can able to perform on your screen, or the components of your screen. So let me go ahead and create a module pool program, and I'll be telling you what are the details that you will be having on your screen. Okay, so now I'm going to SE80. So here I'll be taking this as program ZMPP underscore 7am underscore the test. So I'm just going to have a test program. I'll just click on yes, yes. So create with the top include. I'm just going to have this, and now I'll just copy this program name. So I just want my top include name to be gets created. So I'll be taking this as ZN. So now I'll just say click on enter. See here, by default it will be coming it as your module pool. See here the attributes of your program. We have seen about your executable, we have seen about your include, we have seen about your function group. Right now we are going to see about your module pool program, and now I'll just say click on save by storing that in your package as well as in your TR. Now when I double click on this, see, 4 includes SAP will create, as I mentioned you earlier. 4 includes O01, PBO, IO1 and the F01. These 3 includes will be in the commented state. You have to uncomment and you have to create that one. So you have to create that one. So I'm just going with back and I01, back, and then F01, back. So once you have done this, now activate the program. So right click and activate this one. So you will be getting this. Now after this step, so now it's time for me to create my screen. To create the screen, right click over here, just click on create and what you want to create. See, these are the things you can able to create it. So now I want to design my screen. So what is your screen number? So always work with the 9000 series. So 9000 series are the series that SAP has been provided to us. to us. So now I'll just say click on execute. Now we have to see the screen. In this, the component of the screens are coming to the components. The first one is attributes. The second one is the element list. The third one is the flow logic. And the fourth one is your layout. These are the four things: attributes, element list, flow logic, as well as your layout. So coming to the attributes, here we have to provide the description of the screen. So screen 1, and then you need to specify what is the type of a screen, whether it's a normal screen, whether it's a subscreen, or whether it's a module dialog box. Whether it's a normal screen, or whether it's a subscreen, or whether it's a non module dialog box. Okay, so these things which you have to provide. So now normal screen is nothing but whatever the screen which you are seeing is nothing but your normal screen. So subscreens are nothing but your tabs. So this is one subscreen, and this is one another subscreen, this is another subscreen, like that. And then module dialog box is to showcase your pop-up, so that is called as your module dialog box. And now what is the current position, the cursor position from where you have to start? All these things you can provide it over here. And the next one is your next screen. So what will be your next screen after this for the navigation? So you have to provide that. If you're not providing the next screen, system will consider the same screen as your next screen. So that's what I mentioned you over here. So the type of the screen, and normal screen we will always work. The subscreen and dialog box 5 to 10% of your chances. What will be the next screen? If you are not providing the next screen, system will consider the same screen as your next screen number. And then the settings of your screen. What are the settings of your screen? You have to provide that one. So the next one is the element list. Here, whatever the variables or whatever the structures or whatever the fields, I would mention, say whatever the fields that you are going to use in this particular screen, you can able to see that in your element list. So whatever the variables slash fields which we are creating in the module pool screen or the screen layout, that will be shown in your element list, that will be showcased in your element list. And here the flow logic, see here, this is the events of your flow logic: process before output and process after input. For everywhere you have to determine your module. So in this you have to determine the module, and in that module you have to write down your ABAP code. So process before output, so this module I have to determine in my IO01, process before output. O01, I'm just going to determine that one. So now let me click on save. So I'll just go back and I'll just go ahead and create my I01 module 2, and let me click on yes. I'll just go ahead with my I01 module 2. So that's it. So this is what you have to do it. So once you have done this, see here PBO modules and PIM modules has been came up. Now it's time for me to design my layout. So layout is a place where you will be designing your screen. How you want exactly the screen, that designing part we will be doing it over here. Once you have completing the designing, I'll just go ahead and right click and activate my program to activate everything. So let me go to my change mode. Display mode. I'll just activate my code. So now to execute directly, you can't able to execute this one. If I just click on execute, see here, see, so is not a report program. See here, it's not a report program. To execute this, we need to create a transaction code. I'm just going to create a transaction code. The, the syntax for creating of a transaction code, the transaction code. is SE93. So now I'm going to create that one. So Z MPP 7 AM test one. I'm just going to click on create. So MPP 7 AM, the test one. Here, what you need to select, program with the screen, which is nothing but your dialog transaction. This is one you have to select. Just click on enter. So what is your program name? This is my program name. I'm just going to create my program name. And then what is your screen number? So you have to provide the screen number as your 9000, and then you need to select these three things, and I'll just say click on save. I'll be going to save that. Now when I click on execute this transaction, you can able to see your screen. See the screen, but here we have not populated anything, so that we have to populate, and then we can able to change, then we can able to see those details over here. How to populate that and how to do that, that we will be checking in your tomorrow's session. So so tomorrow's session we are going to check that one, how to populate those values and everything. As I told you, tomorrow also you have your class, Sunday also you have your class, Monday and Tuesday also you have your class. I know it's festival, but I have already told you I'll be going on a leave for next upcoming 10 days, as I have let me stop the recording.